Welcome everyone to Norstead Point, Session 2. In Session 1, Maeve and Baylog enter the worn shanty village of Norstead Point. Upon entering Chastain's tavern, Maeve learns a letter was left for her by a strange creature that crawled out of the sea and mysteriously returned to it again. Edmund and Yvonne Chastain, the innkeepers, inform the party that the townspeople are collectively worried this creature may have something to do with the town's history of a strange sickness. Eager for Fergus to leave, Old Man Marcus and a hunter named Jocelyn lead Baylog and Maeve to a flooded cave entrance at the base of the cliffside. Finding Fergus starved and wounded within, Baylog resets Fergus's inflamed and dislocated leg, and Maeve restores his vigor with rations. As Maeve and Fergus catch up, Baylog notices an obsidian dagger on Fergus's person. Fergus explains his people made it from an underwater volcano, and Baylog shows great interest in this, and mentions his people live beside a volcano as well. Maeve inquires about the trident, and Fergus explains that in a frantic attempt to save himself from pursuing sharks, he attempted to use it and was blasted out of the water and across the bay, dislocating his leg and loosening his grip on the artifact. It currently rests on the reef northeast of the town's northern shore. The group resolves to bring Fergus back to town and restore his health. Baylog assists Fergus back up the cliff, where Fergus faces further suspicion by Old Man Marcus. Afterward, Jocelyn warns Maeve to be careful that Fergus doesn't make her sick somehow. Maeve asks what he means, and Jocelyn tells her that two families became very sick with fever and mysteriously vanished. No one knows why except for Marcus, who claims it's tied to a ship atop Norstead Point, the unusually tall sea spire the town is named for. Maeve assures Jocelyn of Fergus's good intentions, and Jocelyn admits that Fergus doesn't quite fit with Marcus's stories, noting that Fergus had even tipped Edmund with gold. He also reasons that Maeve isn't from around here, and Fergus seems to know her, suggesting that Fergus may truly not be from this area after all. Maeve says Fergus may even be willing to help if the town treats him better, but notes Jocelyn's apprehension. He warns her that the townsfolk may not be keen on accepting assistance from him. Fergus and Baylog arrive back at Chastain's first and pay to rent rooms at the inn. Edmund was reluctantly willing to house Baylog due to his connection with Maeve, but requested that Fergus clarify whether he was somehow making people in the village sick. Fergus denies involvement, not understanding the connection between himself and the town's sickness. Edmund points out two houses in the town and explains that the families that lived there each went missing after becoming ill. The reason they believe Fergus might be tied to the illness is that a sailor involved with the ship atop the spire claimed it was the work of people swimming in the water, who fit Fergus's appearance. Maeve vouches for Fergus, and the party is admitted for food and board. So tonight, y'all are basically at the inn. You have paid 3 gold. Let me see. Let me make sure you are on the map here. Perfect. Here we are. Everybody can see this okay?
The letters?
Wait.
The inn?
Yes, the inn.
Yes.
Okay, so each of you has rooms for the night. The way these stairs kind of work, we go up here, and then there's like this little upstairs area where Baylog and Fergus each have rooms. And then Maeve, you have your own room on the first floor. You're welcome to hang out or do whatever you like. So at this point, let me see. I want to say it's probably like late afternoon, with Maeve and Baylog having arrived in the morning and everything from the first day, having just taken up the majority of the afternoon, or I'm sorry, the early morning.
Okay.
Fergus,
Early
you are
afternoon.
still in very rough shape, but you are gradually recovering.
So
Fergus
we're in our
probably
rooms
went right up there.
that you said? Oh.
Yeah, I've placed you in rooms here, but essentially you have rooms, right?
So I'm not gonna fit on that twin bed, so I like make a California king out of them.
Okay. Baylog, how would a pair of medieval mattresses compare to the
The
beds you're
straw
accustomed
and
to?
other like furs I've been laying on my whole life,
Yeah.
like a cloud in heaven.
Nice, nice. Okay. So Baylog's enjoying this.
I don't want to get out of bed, actually.
Fergus, how are you feeling? And Maeve, what are you up to?
This bed's a bit different than our seaweed beds back home, but I suppose it's not so bad. Yeah, Fergus just collapsed on his bed. He's probably not passed out or anything, but he's probably just like relaxing and taking a moment to actually relax because he hasn't been able to do that for like a week.
Yeah, it feels a lot better than the stone of that cave. No
Oh,
doubt
so
about
much
it.
better.
Okay. And Maeve?
Where am I right now?
You have the freedom to kind of be wherever you want to be. You technically have a room over here, but the lot of you essentially have the top floor.
Okay, well, yeah, I suppose I'm just in my room recuperating as well. The bed is it's okay. The sheets smell pretty old, but it's not horrible. It'll do. It'll do.
What is Maeve used to?
Stuff like this, and then wherever, if they're camping, if she's camping, but certainly nothing super high end.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so do you guys remember the things that y'all wanted to look into?
I remember. Oh, were you gonna say something, Maeve?
Yes, I would like to visit the girl who is sick, the little girl who is sick, and her family.
Okay. Fergus, did you want something?
Yes. Taking notes. So if I remember correctly, Maeve learned that the sailor saw the fish people from his ship at Norstead Point where oh my god, I can't speak right now.
Yeah,
Was it only Maeve that knew that? Because I feel like it was.
Oh, was it only Maeve who knows that? Actually, Maeve definitely knows it from when she went to pick up the letter. But Baylog and Fergus, you guys would also know it from Edmund just now. Before he was willing to give you guys rooms, he was like, he told Baylog, like, okay, like, you came with the girl, you were here earlier, like, you can have a room if you've got money, you know, and don't cause any trouble. But then he was like, before I can let you stay here, looking at Fergus, he was like, I need you to, like, tell us whether you're involved with these sicknesses. And then you were like, I don't understand what I have to do with this.
How could it be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, there's like these stories that like this old guy is telling.
Okay. I will say then, Fergus is kind of resting and his mind is relaxing, and as it's relaxing, it's processing, and he realizes in this moment that he said that, and his eyes shoot open, and he's like, wait, fish people, near town. And it scares the shit out of him. So he's going to get up and go find Maeve. Oops. Actually, he's gonna... No, first of all, Yeah, he'll go get Maeve. Does he run into her at the top of the stairs?
If she's chilling up there. If you're in
Alright.
your room, Maeve, then that's fine. You guys could, like, take some downtime if that's what you'd like to do. Or we can fast forward through that if you guys want to have already chilled for a bit.
Well, I think I just want to have a conversation with Maeve.
Yeah. At the very least, you can find Maeve's room.
Yeah. So Fergus goes to Maeve's room, knocks on the door.
Okay. So, alright, so Maeve, you're actually down here. So, Fergus, what this is going to mean is in order to get to Maeve's room, you are going to have to walk down the stairs kind of by yourself here, and when this happens, the bar goes quiet and everyone's like looking at you, right?
As the bar goes quiet, he pauses, realizes he's gonna go back up the stairs, come over here, and he's gonna go over and knock on Baylog's door.
Oh, what? Sorry.
Sorry.
Someone's knocking on your door,
Did I
Baylog.
trigger Avi?
Oh.
Yes, you triggered her. Right?
So I hear the knock and open the door.
Fergus looks up. I think we should have a conversation, figure out what our next steps are, but, I think I'd like some company down in the bar. It's a bit uncomfortable by myself.
He just nods and ducks his head a good 3 feet while he's trying to squeeze out of this doorway.
And Fergus is gonna let you lead the way. Let's go to Maeve's room. Okay.
Where's Maeve's room?
Downstairs. Downstairs. Oh. Accents all over the place today. So then we get downstairs, and then we're here.
Oh, there's the stairs.
Sounds good
Yeah.
to me.
And then now Baylog's leading the way, so he's not alone being
Okay.
stared at.
Yeah, there are... as you guys... Roll me insight as you guys are walking through here.
Okay. 2.
Yeah, we don't. Blissfully unaware.
Alright. So, again, just absolute silence as you're walking through. The two of you just sort of
And then
make
we
your
knock
way.
on. We go. On
I'm
Maeve's
just gonna open the door.
Oh, right. She could have been changing. You don't know. Okay. And Fergus kind of follows in.
Fergus.
I was already heading to the door because I heard the tavern suddenly go quiet, and there was only one thing that could have made them all go quiet. So I was already heading out the door.
Perfect.
Was there a glass of water by the door making ripples every step I took? Like up at Jurassic Park.
There could be. All the beer mugs in the bar, right? Everyone's looking at them.
Well, I think we should, shut the door and, plan our next steps, shall we?
I don't think we can all fit in my room.
Oh, are our rooms bigger upstairs?
Yeah,
Can we all
y'all can't all fit. It's
Okay.
not a huge
Fergus
room.
He'll sit on the bed, like, cross-legged, so he takes up less space.
I just stand in the corner by the door.
Okay, let's see. So where do we go from here, folks? What's on the list? We've... Quite a few strange things are happening, Maeve. We only came here to lay low. I didn't come here to get my leg nearly pulled out of my socket, but here we are.
How are you feeling, by the way?
Oh, how is he feeling? Pretty sore still?
Yeah, so you have been malnourished for a week, and you just had access to rations an hour ago. And you had your leg reset about an hour ago as well, so everything is very, very fresh for you, Fergus.
He's looking pretty rough, real skinny. His leg is bruised to shit. Been better?
I'm going to hand Fergus another ration. You eat.
Note
Right.
at this point, Fergus, I believe you had already eaten 3 days of rations,
Okay.
and you had to make a con save to avoid vomiting.
Okay.
If you eat another one, you will definitely be like taking in way too many calories way too fast.
Okay. Fergus takes it and says, "Oh, I will eat it. Thank you. I don't think I could do so just now, but
You're
I'll
stuffed.
save it for later." Right.
Okay, so yeah, what is y'all's next move? Do you want to visit the sick house? Do you want to try and find a way to see what's up with the trident?
I wanna visit the girl. They keep talking about her and blaming her illness on Fergus, so I would like to visit the little girl.
The sick girl, that's right. You know, perhaps if we could figure out what's making her sick, it might clear my name, make these people more susceptible, not susceptible, more, they might like me more. I think it's a good idea to go visit that girl.
I think so too. Hey, look.
Baylock?
What do you guys ask?
Do you want to go visit the girl?
Yeah, I mean, he'll just go wherever you need him to go.
So
No,
Baylog's
mate.
kind of tagging along with Maeve.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think we're gonna go, well, yeah, I think we're gonna go visit the sick girl.
Okay. All right. So, let's see. Do y'all know where the sick girl is?
I guess we'd have to ask the barman.
Yeah, I guess y'all probably would. I don't know if it's been explicitly pointed out to anybody.
Let me ask. Let me ask them.
That's fair. Yeah.
Are we heading out?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Lead the way, Maeve.
Alright. Okay. So I'm gonna go up to my goodness, what was his name? What was his name again? The innkeeper? What's his name again?
Oh, sorry. It is. There you go.
Edmund. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go up to Edmund and thank him for our rooms. They are very comfortable. And I'm going to ask him, this sick girl, I would like to go visit her and her family. Do you know where her home is?
You see Edmund's eyes. Make me an insight check, everybody.
Oof. Very
Oh,
observant.
damn. Nat 20 for... Oh, 24 for... Oh, my God.
And Maeve, wow, holy crap. Okay, so immediately what you can tell is, as you ask him this, he's initially like a little reluctant to tell you, just because he is legitimately concerned that Fergus may have some sort of tie to it. And the guy next to him, Jocelyn, is just sort of staring very intently. And Edmund, looking very cautious, asks, may I ask what your intentions are?
I'd just like to see how she's holding up and see if she knows anything about, maybe she was somewhere when she fell ill. Maybe we can try to figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm. And he sort of looks you up and down, and he says, but you're some kind of inspector or something? You don't really look like a healer.
I have a few things. And, I tell him, I may not be a healer, but I may be able to identify what's making her sick. I do know an awful lot about different toxins and poisons.
Roll me a persuasion check. And Balog, you don't have to say anything, but you are a healer. Okay, that's pretty good.
Ooh.
So Edmund sort of cocks an eyebrow, and he says, well, I don't know nothing about poisons and the like, but I suppose at this point, take about any help we can get. And he sort of looks over at Balog, and he looks over at Fergus. And he's like, you'll find Beatrice's house on the opposite side. Opposite side of town. And he sort of points kind of across the way, pretty much straight out the door here. And he says, if there's anything you can do to help, we'd appreciate it, but well, Cecily, she might not take too kindly to your friend there. Sort of nodding in Fergus's direction.
I understand that. Cecily, is that her mother's name?
Yes. Yeah, Beatrice is the little girl.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go ahead and head on.
While you guys were talking, Balog was snooping around, nonchalant, or not nonchalant, but like curious what all these rooms were.
Oh, I see. So this is like kind of a bar which hits like the stairway here, so there's not actually a way to sort of approach from this side here. You would have to circle around this way.
Oh, never mind then. Bump past.
But you're certainly welcome to look around, and old man
And
Marcus is gonna be eyeballing you.
So like while the conversation's going on, he's gonna like lean over and peek into this room.
Yeah, Edmund's gonna be very alarmed as you do this.
What does she do when she sees me like looking at the whatever she's doing?
So she is just kind of like cooking, doing her thing, and I guess when she looks up and sees you, she is going to be very alarmed. It's going to be very alarming that you're moving behind the bar like this, and Edmund's going to kind of call out and say, excuse me, please don't come back here. And he is going to very uncomfortably sort of wedge himself here, sort of blocking the doorway with his body, which is not a small figure, but compared to you, Balog is laughably small.
Balog just snorts, walks back.
All right, you
He
guys
is
all
not
just leave.
accustomed to these social and societal norms.
Okay. Is everyone just leaving?
I think we're ready to go see the sick girl.
Yep.
All right. Okay, make me a perception check as y'all are leaving.
Everybody?
Hmm.
Okay. 6. Not too perceptive.
God, a 28 and 18. No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so as you guys are walking out, you sort of hear this old man in the corner sort of shout like, "God bless it!" And he starts, starts off rambling, saying all his crazy shit. Okay. So, you guys are... Whoa, fairies. Where'd your icon go? Am I the only one that sees that? Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright. So, you guys make your way across town. To the house that was pointed out to you.
Is it the one with the barricade?
Barricade.
There was one where... Oh, wait, never mind. There was one where I saw someone run into it. I tried to open.
No. That was this one up here.
Oh, okay.
But, Fergus, you would recognize this as the house that you had first knocked on. And there's supposed to be a door there, so just pretend there is one.
I'm going to peek into one of the...
You peeking through the window?
Yeah.
Okay, looking inside, you can see that there is a girl who is sick on a bed. It's a very simple single-bedroom house. There's a water barrel in the middle, for drinking fresh water, and a woman seems to be working on something. She has her back to you and does not see you.
Alright.
Okay.
I'm going to turn to Fergus and say, it may not be the best idea if you come in.
Ah. Right. I'll just... Is this like a little grassy area right over here?
Yeah, it's sort of it's not really grass, but it's sort of a thick, soft moss.
Oh,
Like-
that'll work. I'll just sit out over here. Just give a holler if you need anything. And he's just gonna go to the side and like sit down and lean up against the house. And just wait.
Okay. So, are you guys... What are y'all gonna do?
I don't...
Poor Fergus.
I'm not sure if they would be too keen on seeing Balog either, but what do you think? What do y'all think?
I have an
Balog
idea.
will just follow
Oh, go ahead, Balog.
Balog will just follow the moves of what you guys decide to do. He's kind of like a bodyguard in this sense.
What was your idea?
My idea comes from Lord of the Rings. You go in by yourself first, get their approval of you, and say, I have a healer with me. Would you like to meet them? And like slowly introduce Balog, like Gandalf did with the dwarves, to the bear man.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
That's my
that
suggestion.
yeah, that sounds like a. That sounds good. How can we hear anything inside of the house? Like, how thin are the walls or the door?
It's standard. Uh, it's ADA accessible. It's three feet wide, I guess. It's about 7 feet tall, so shorter than Baylog by a good deal. Let me see. Yeah, it's the walls are not super thick. But they are planks of wood. Are you looking for like
More-
a width in feet or like dimensions or something?
No, I'm wondering how if they would be able to hear the conversation inside.
You can go ahead and make a perception check if you'd like to listen. Like press your ear to the door and listen through. Oh, did you just do that?
Yeah, roll.
Sorry, I didn't realize you had rolled. Okay. Let me see. With 11, so yeah, with an 11, you press your ear to the door. It's quiet on the other side. You can maybe hear a little bit of movement, but nothing distinct.
Okay. Okay. Um. Alright.
You gonna knock on the door or kick the door in?
I'm gonna kick the door in. I will go and knock on the door.
Okay.
I don't know. Where is Baylog standing?
In the window still.
You're just standing in the window.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Looking around the inside of these people's home.
Oh my god. Okay. Let me see. Let me think about this. All
They
right.
saw me. Mate.
They are absolutely going to see you. So there's a knock at the door, and Maeve, there's sort of a pause and then a sudden shriek from within that you can hear through the closed door. And Baylog, you see a very alarmed blonde woman who is staring at you
I put up a hand.
in her home. A hand, you say?
Yeah, with a shh motion.
Oh my god. Okay. One sec. I gotta dispose of something.
Devastated.
There we go. Okay. So yes, this very alarmed woman is going to see you and shriek and and you're just pretending you're just like shushing her.
Yeah.
Gosh, okay, let me see. So, Baylog, you shush her through the window like a weirdo. This lady is going to be horrified.
He just backs away from the window.
She's never seen anything like you. She is going to run across the room, pick up this young girl, and then like carry her over and like I guess sit against this here. She is not going to open this door anytime soon.
Oops.
Alright, I'm going to kind of.
Well, unless you do something.
Huh?
I don't want to say she's not going to answer the door, but she is certainly very freaked out now.
I'm going to kind of try to push or nudge Baylog away from the window.
Oh, I stepped
And
off it once I figured out how scared she was.
oh, okay. And then I'm going to go in the window and wave at her and motion to the door like that was me that knocked.
Make me a persuasion check. Let me see if I have anything here. It's a little too intense. Have anything chill? I really don't. That's funny. I need to tell more Jill stories. Let's try this maybe. There we go. Okay, that's not bad. Okay. Let's see, how's that persuasion check? A 10. She's not completely persuaded to come open the door, Maeve. You can see she's very alarmed. She's never seen anything like Baylog before. This like massive horned creature who was like looking in through her windows here. Is there anything you could add to this to maybe convince her that there's something you guys are here for?
I believe I'll turn to Baylog and ask a healing potion? Healing? And kind of motion with my hands like a bottle or something, or a vial or something.
He produces a healing potion.
Okay, and I will take that and look back in the window, point at the potion, and then point at the girl.
There is... make me an insight check. Okay. You see multiple emotions cross her face, Maeve. There is a flash of hope at the sight of what you've got, that maybe you have some kind of medicine that may offer, you know, a reprieve from what they've been going through. Followed very quickly by a flash of concern. And you're gonna see, as you kind of say this, she kind of gathers herself and sets her child down on the bed here. And she's going to walk over to the window where you're presumably still standing, unless you walked off completely. Did you walk off to the door already?
Oh no, I'm at the window. I'm still at the window.
Okay. Okay, then in that case, she is going to walk over to the window, and she's going to sort of say through the window, "You're a healer?"
Not necessarily, but he is. And she nods towards Baylog. No, he looks frightening and different, but he can heal, and maybe he can help your daughter if you would allow us into your home.
A moment passes. Then she moves out of sight, and there's a small click at the door. Looking through, you see a young woman who is exhausted. She does not appear to have slept well. And she looks very distrusting of Baylog. And she says, "What are you saying? How could you help?"
He is a healer. We heard about your daughter and how sick she is. And I myself know quite a bit about different types of poisons, so maybe I could identify what's making her sick. And if so, maybe he can heal her.
My daughter hasn't been poisoned, but she's certainly very sick. She sort of looks doubtfully up at Baylog, and then back at you again. And she says, I must be crazy for doing this, but come on in. I'll take whatever help I can get.
With this, Baylog is going to just squeeze through that doorway.
Oh my gosh. Fergus, you hear all of this as well.
Crawl at this point? If the
Okay.
house is smaller than him?
Yeah, the interior is high enough for you, Baylog, because there's an arched roof, right? But you certainly tower inside this room, and Cecily is going to take a few steps back here.
He's gonna look around the room, surveying it.
It's very simple. There's really not a lot to this room. There is a water barrel of drinking water here, a fireplace for cooking and such, and then a very simple table with 2 chairs and 2 beds and 2 like clothing chests. A small blonde-headed girl lays on the bed, not registering your presence.
Maeve is going to go up to Baylog and kind of tug on him a little bit and motion with her hand to sit down because he is very intimidating.
Yeah,
He sits down on the floor next to the child's bed.
Baylog, even sitting, you tower over the edge of the bed, and you're able.
What do I notice about the child, like in terms of health, right off the bat?
Okay. Make me a medicine check. And Maeve, you are going to notice initially as Baylog sort of moves in
17.
pretty directly on this girl here that she is going to be a bit alarmed. And she's going to take a few steps forward, but then very quickly sees the adeptness with which Baylog is sort of studying this girl. Baylog, here's what you gather. Wait. You got a... Wait, what'd you roll?
17.
17? Okay. With a 17, you can see very clearly that this girl's cheeks are flushed. She appears to be sweating profusely. And Maeve... Oh, you know what? Let me change our music here. Maeve, you are able to observe this as well. She is very flushed. She appears to be sort of murmuring in a feverish manner. She's sweating profusely. Yeah, that's about it. I will say, with a 17, you notice, Baylog, that despite her flushed cheeks, she is not warm.
As she has the fever, of some sort.
Do I notice anything that could indicate any type of poisoning?
poisoning. Roll me a poisoner's tools check.
Oh, I don't know how to do.
It's basically just a dex check plus your proficiency.
It's D20.
Okay, Dex. Wait.
So what are Maeve's stats? You had a +2. So you rolled a 5, +2 for your dex, +2.
Wait, are you?
So you rolled a 9.
Okay.
Okay. With a 9, you are able to determine. Well, with a 9, these symptoms do look similar to poisoning. Like something you might expect to see. As Balog observed, it does look similar to fever. However, it would be hard to say if a particular poison was used. But it does seem very unlikely. To mimic the kind of effects of a poison, they would have to have access to something they're unlikely to find here. Unless they know what they're doing.
Okay.
I would say, Maeve, your knowledge of poisons is generally very uncommon.
Okay. I'm going to turn to Mom and say, how long has she been like this?
She sighs heavily and she says, "Well, it's been some time now. A few days, but it seems to be getting worse and worse." She says at first she was just sweating, and now she's not even waking up. She's been sleeping like this since this morning.
Do you know when she could have been exposed to whatever made her sick?
She sort of thinks for a moment. And she says, "No. I mean, I don't know. The other day, something came into town. And it knocked on the doors and went into the tavern. And it did come in and or it came to this house and it knocked on the door, but I didn't let it inside. And they say it went back to the sea."
Why didn't you let it inside, if you don't mind me asking?
She says, I was afraid. I didn't want to. The door was locked and Beatrice was already sick. So, I don't know, when I heard something knocking at my door and I looked through, it's one of those things, like in Marcus's story. And she looks at you and she says, "I'm sorry, you're not from around here. There's a rumor or a story that an old man tells, and it has the strangest creatures in it."
Yes, I have met him and he has mentioned that. But what makes you all think that these creatures are responsible for her illness?
At this, there's a soft tapping sound. And she says, "Well, I'm not sure, but in the story, the person who tells the story describes that people got sick. And she says there were these other two families in the houses next to us, and they got sick just like she did, with a fever. And then one night they vanished. So I'm just hoping it's not the same thing. But then to see one of those things, I'm afraid it could be. I'm just not certain.
Maybe not. I do have one other friend that's waiting outside, and he might be able to help as well. But he does look different, as does my companion here. And you may not like it at first, but please, please, try to keep. Please, just give him a chance.
And she sort of cocks an eyebrow, and she says, if he can help my little girl, and you mean us no harm, then by all means.
And then I will go back to the door, open it, and call out for Fair.
He peeks around the corner.
And
Yes.
she'll motion with her hand to like come on in.
All right. He makes his way in behind Maeve.
Oh God. Okay. So
Here we go.
So, Fergus, as you step through the door, Cecily Clifton is going to go stark white and stumble backwards and say, oh, "It's you! It's you! No! That thing can't be in here!"
I'm going to put up my hands and say, wait, please, wait.
You don't understand. That could be what's making her sick.
How could I be making her sick?
Fergus,
Right.
you,
Okay, fine,
as
fine.
you say this, you watch Cecily's jaw just drop open, dumbstruck, as these words come out of your mouth. I'm sorry, what were you asking, Maeve?
No, I was shushing Fergus because
Fergus is shushed.
and
He crosses his arms.
and I'll tell her he's not from around here either. And from what I understand of Marcus's story, these things that look like him were here before. And he's no can speak well, and he knocked on your door before, did he not?
There's a thick pause and another soft tap. She says, "That thing, it did, but if it's real, then what about the sickness? Isn't the sickness also real?" And she sort of looks at you, Fergus, and she says, "Did you do something to her? Did you do something to my daughter?"
Fergus looks to Maeve like, "Can I talk now?"
And she'll and like, go ahead, like, be nice, and she'll like kind of murmur and under her breath like, be nice.
Cecily looks sort of cornered as the three of you, particularly because I believe Fergus is also quite tall, as Fergus looms through the doorway with fucking Baylog right there. So, what were you saying, Fergus?
Fergus will just say, I've never seen your daughter before today. There's no way I could have done anything to make her sick, nor would I want to. I have no ill motives here.
Another long pause and a soft tap. Fergus, make me a persuasion check.
Oh dear.
Does Fergus have any weapons on him or anything? Like visible?
He
Got
has,
like a knife and a harpoon, I think.
he has like a dagger at his side. And he's...
So Fergus, with that 6, she does not look convinced. She's still very, very afraid. She has, consciously or not, positioned herself between her daughter and the rest of you.
Fergus sees this and he goes, "Oh, great abyss, would you just, you mudfoots! I'm telling you, you don't have an open mind, you never do. That's how you always are, stubborn breeds."
Maeve is gonna smack him on, I don't know, his arm or in his stomach with her hand.
Take his hurt leg.
What?
Take his hurt leg.
Oh god.
If you want to make an impact. Whatever you want, mate.
His swollen, inflamed leg.
Still, like, kind of nudge it, but not hard enough for it to really hurt. And say, like, shut up, bullfish.
Fine. You know what? I don't think I'm doing any good here. I'm just gonna hang out. He's just gonna come over to this corner and, like, sit down. And just cross his arms.
Does Cecily see the banter between us? Does she see that?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is happening in her one-bedroom house. So she definitely sees the banter. Another moment of silence passes, and another soft tap.
Where's that tap coming from?
Yeah, what is the tap?
Make me a persuasion check. Or a perception check.
Wait.
Oh my god, dude.
Baylog and Maeve. You can hear it, it's at least coming from the direction of, like, the two of them in that corner. Fergus, you are able to tell more specifically it's coming from near the floor.
Okay. Fergus will, like, hold up a hand. Hold up a hand to Maeve to say stop. It's like one of their signals that just says stop what you're doing and listen. And then he's gonna point at the floor and just to Maeve. And she knows exactly what he's saying because this is how they've communicated before.
Maeve, if you like, you can make an investigation check to get a closer look.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask Cecily, that tapping noise, it's coming from over there. May I?
Her eyes sort of shift between the lot of you, and then after another moment they sort of settle on you, Maeve, and you can see she's beyond stressed, she's exhausted, and she says, just do what you can. But please, please, just stay over there, she says to Fergus.
Fine.
So
He stays seated.
Oh, poor Fergus. So Maeve, coming over and taking a look with that 22, you are able to determine, looking under the bed, at first there's sort of nothing, and then there's a soft flicker of movement that catches your eye.
I don't like that.
And another soft tap. And looking at it, you see what appears to be beads of water forming at the base of the mattress, and they are dripping down. It appears that Beatrice is sweating so profusely that she has soaked through the mattress, and it is beginning to drip off the bed.
Gosh. Okay, it's not a creature. It's not a thing. Okay.
You sniff and note a saltiness in the air, but it's not the, like, musky scent of sweat. It's salt.
Like from the sea, like seas, like ocean.
You sort of sniff the air again as the thought crosses your mind. It could just be that you're in a seaside house.
Hmm. Right. I'm gonna sit up and turn to Fergus and say, "It's sweat, but it doesn't smell like sweat. It just smells like salt. Do you know anything about that, Fergus?"
Does Fergus know anything about that?
Fergus, you don't know anything about that.
He just shakes his head and shrugs his shoulders.
Hmm.
Baylog, does that mean anything to you?
All it seems really bad fever.
Make me a medicine check, Baylog.
Can I make a medicine check as well?
Sure. And remember, you have expertise in this, Baylog.
Hold on. What does expertise do?
It's double proficiency. So you get
Oh.
a +4 to it. Okay. So, Baylog.
Oh, well, I didn't put it.
Oh, that was Emily. Okay. So, Maeve, what are you rolling your medicine check for? What are you investigating here? Are you inquiring about the sweat?
The sweat and her flushed cheeks, but with no apparent fever. I'm not gonna touch her, and just her general fatigue. If Cecily said she, I guess, hasn't woken up all morning.
No, she has not woken up all morning. She is very flushed and sweating very profusely. But yes, with a 14, you will certainly note that her sweat does not smell like musky, like sweat typically would. But that's all that you're able to gather here. What do the three of you think about this situation?
I'm perplexed. I'm trying to figure out how she got sick. What could have, because like this isn't anything Fergus has ever heard of. So it's like it doesn't seem, maybe it does come from fish people, but it wouldn't have happened in his community then, I guess.
If the bar, it wouldn't be Fergus, because people from the bar would eventually be sick. So would we.
Yeah, this apparently happened to like two other families long before Fergus showed up. However, they don't know that because Fergus climbed out of the sea of Norstead, came straight up out of the bay, up the side of the cliff wall, and into the village.
Good lord. Yep,
Like
sure
a
did.
sea monster.
Yep. How long ago did this happen, did you say?
That would have been a week ago, and that would have been very hot news in a shanty town like this.
No. The sickness that.
Ah, the
Yeah.
sickness. So that would have happened like over the past couple of months. Maybe further back than that. Maybe within the past couple of years. There was definitely a gap between them, but it was very odd because the entire family went missing when one of them got sick.
The entire family went missing when one of them got sick.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask
The day.
this.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask her. How many other people went missing after they got sick?
She says, well, the ones in the houses over here, the two houses over, sort of gesturing through the walls. She says, or actually, no, I'm sorry, it's like this house and then the last house up here. Those were the ones that went missing. That was years ago, and others moved into those houses since then. Some newcomers that came to town had moved in. But yeah, basically the story, and she'll tell you this, is that someone became sick with a fever, like a really, really bad fever, and it got worse and worse and worse, and then one day the entire family was just gone.
No trace at all. No blood. No sign of upset in the house. Nothing. Just gone.
She shakes her head, and you can see in her face the paranoia and the superstition and the fear that something is going to happen to both of them.
How
The
long
day.
did
Oh, go ahead.
how long did they how long were they sick before they went missing?
She says, I honestly don't know. I don't know the details of it. It was, well, not long. I think, I guess I really don't know the details, but not long. From what I hear, it happened fairly quickly.
So, Baylog hearing. He kind of already knows what has to be done.
Kill her.
Well, in
What?
his village, Sickness has destroyed entire communities, knowledge in the village. So
So,
essentially, if there's no way of fixing it, they just remove the sick entirely. Not necessarily killing,
okay.
but banished to a quarantine colony.
Okay. Are you gonna tell her this?
The best way I can in common.
Okay. So if you
So I am
explain this. Yep, go ahead.
I'm going to say, you need to go. Leave this town.
And she shakes her head and she says, I can't. I can't leave my only daughter behind. Not when she's
You
sick
take
like
her.
this.
He says, you take her.
Ooh. You're convincing her to leave. Okay.
Yes.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Ugh.
Mm. So, Baylog, telling her this, you can see that what you're saying makes sense to her. Right? And she says, I don't know if that'll make it better, but I've thought about it. Maybe, and she turns to her little girl and she says, maybe if I can get her away from this place. She's certainly considering it, but her daughter is fully unconscious, has been all day long. Apparently this is the first day of her being fully unconscious like this. And she looks horrible. She looks horrible. Cecily is going to kind of get her some water.
Were there any buildings outside of the village on the way here?
On the way here, no. In fact, the road was quite overgrown. There does appear there was enough of a road that like it's there, right? They might get a shipment of something like every couple months, and they just cruise on that, you know, maybe longer. So yeah, there's really no getting around out here.
Fergus will get Maeve's attention. Let's see. Maeve, will you have a look at that water there? And he points at the barrel that she just took water from.
I will walk over and take a look at it, and what do I see?
It's just a perfectly mundane barrel of water. Nothing suspicious at all that you can tell.
Nothing suspicious. Okay.
Do you
There
want to investigate it?
I'd like to investigate a little further.
Take a sip.
Yeah. So looking at it, Maeve, as far as you can tell, it tastes completely normal. It does seem to be fresh water. It's maybe a little stale from being, sitting fresh water, but it's not bad.
I'm going to ask Cicely, where did you get water from?
Oh God.
Or is that too meta?
I just haven't thought about it. So Cecily will say, I get it from Marjorie's, the grocer. She stocks up on water and whenever a shipment comes through.
Oh, so they get it from elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So, as far as you guys have been able to tell so far, she is flushed, sweating profusely, sweating so profusely she's actually sweating through the bed. She's been unconscious all day long. She is cold to the touch, and her sweat ain't stinky.
What?
That's about it.
These are all interesting symptoms.
Sweat.
The
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, is
the
sweat supposed to
day
stink?
It just doesn't smell like sweat.
Oh, okay.
It smells salty.
the day that oh gosh. Okay, so the day that this girl started showing symptoms, where had she been that day?
And she says, well, not. We had hardly done anything. We'd gone down to the water for a little bit, but she'd mostly helped me with chores. Cooking.
Were you ever apart from her for any amount of time?
Cecily shakes her head.
Where by the water?
She says the northern end. It's the only place we're able to get down.
All right.
Did you see her get in the water or get hurt or anything?
Well, she got in the water, but we don't venture too far in because the sharks are notorious around here. So it can be dangerous.
Did you get in the water?
She says, yeah, I got in the water. Not very much. We can't hardly be in, more than
Right.
our ankles.
I've experienced that. And he points to like some of the bruising from the fucking sharks. He's relatable, huh?
Yeah.
We're more relatable than huh?
Cecily notes this. Notes your wounds, Fergus. And your sideways blinking.
Yes.
Did Beatrice not go as far as her ankles either?
Cecily says, yes, no one can. She says, the sharks here are quite ferocious. And if you go really about waist deep, she says they're exceedingly dangerous. They will come after you. She says, but that's normal. As long as you're in a boat, you won't have too many problems. Okay. Do y'all have any other thoughts? Sorry, go on.
Is there anyone left in town who was close to the families that disappeared?
Close to them? No, not particularly. We all knew them. But none of us are particularly close to one another. Most of the people in this town keep to themselves. Did they go in the water too? She says, I wouldn't know. I just don't know the details of it. I only know that they got sick.
Do you know their names?
It was the Odos and the Tims.
The Tens?
Timm, the Tims. And here, let me mark it on the map.
Tims. The Odos and Tims.
Odos and the Tims.
And those are the families that disappeared or the families that are currently sick?
Those are the families that disappeared, and the houses have been dubbed that ever since. And so she says the brewer moved into one of those houses, and there's another family that currently lives in another one of those, but they have never gotten sick like that. In fact, nobody's really seen a case of this since the Tims disappeared, and it's been years since then. I mean, we get
Who was
fevers.
around during that time?
Who was around during that time?
Is there anyone that still lives in town that was around during that time?
She says, well, I wouldn't know who was around at that time. It was before my time. But old man Marcus at Chastain's won't stop talking about it. It's all the guy talks about. Then again, you can't blame him. Whatever he went through, it certainly left a mark on him.
I turn to Fergus. Maybe we should go talk to him and let him tell his story in detail.
I think you're right. Baylog.
Yeah.
Baylog agrees.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Very barbarian.
And Fergus, you note, at the back of your mind, you note that there was a cave you passed during your climb that is located directly beneath this house.
And all the people that got sick were on this side.
Oh my god. Fergus notes that. Well then, should we go talk to old man Marcus?
I suppose so. Lead the way.
He puts his hand out for Maeve to, like, help him up.
She'll go and help him up, but, like, is almost, like, falling over to help him up.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So y'all all...
As they exit,
I
he didn't want to say it in the house, but as they exit, he's gonna say, last week when I was coming up here, there was a space we might want to investigate after we talked to Marcus. It's like this cavern that's right below all these houses. I think it'd be I think it would be worth a look.
You agree?
Baylog nods.
Before we leave, I turn back to Cecily and tell her thank you for letting us into your home, and that if there were any changes or if she needs any help with anything, to please reach out.
Okay. She nods. Still very put off by what has happened, but also yeah, I'll just say you leave a very confused Cecily behind as she's like, okay, well, at least she got looked at, right? So you are gonna go talk to Marcus now.
Yes.
Oh.
Right after we made Cecily, like, rethink her biases.
That's
Look at that.
right. Look at
Look
that.
at that. Now confused.
That's right. Okay. Alrighty. So the three of you make your way over to Chastain's Tavern yet again. Maeve, make me, or really any of you guys can make me a perception check as you're walking.
Dude.
Oh, did you roll low again? 2. Oh, wow. Okay, 14, 20. Wow, okay, so Fergus and Maeve, each of you are going to notice as you're sort of walking through this town, particularly because you've gone back and forth, there are these like rock structures throughout the town, just kind of in the middle of everything. And there are even these sort of like deep divots, like here about town, where you guys see these like kind of unusual structures. And getting a good look at this, you are able to see that these appear to be coral structures, which have long since died and dried and just kind of become stone. Just something you note as you're moving through town.
I see these or no?
Yeah, you see these as well.
Oh, cool.
So structures like these, you know, these kinds of things.
Checked it. What does it look like up close?
So, up close, Baylog. Roll me an investigation check.
Finally.
17. Okay. So I'll say this, Baylog. As you're sort of walking this way, this piece of coral... Where's my pointer? I still got it. Okay. This piece of coral, they kind of just look like dried pieces of coral. This piece of coral catches your eye. There's almost a sort of intentional shape to it. It's got these sort of unusual curves, but it's very, very worn away. However, whereas the other ones look like completely randomly shaped like rocks, or just like coral rather, that grew in a particular way, this one looks a bit different. Sort of like something that was very worn away over time. But it doesn't appear to be quite as natural as the others.
I want to break off of...
Sure. It's not easy. It's kind of tough. But you're able, with your great strength, to just smash off a piece.
What does it look like, Pross?
The piece that you broke off?
Yeah.
It just looks like a piece of like chalky white gray coral stone.
Alright.
It wasn't so much the material itself that was unusual. Well, although it's coral, right? But what struck you was the shape. Although you can't tell what it's supposed to be.
Alright.
Okay. All right. So, the rest of you guys are making your way to the bar. Stepping inside this fine establishment yet again. Some of these folks... Let me see. Y'all just went to the Clifton House and came right back. So most of these people are still going to be here. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything to say or do as you step into the room?
Fergus looks at Maeve and just nods in the direction of old man Marcus. Like, I'm not leading this charge. That won't go well.
Right, so I'm going to walk up to old man Marcus and Wait, are those people sitting next to him? Are those people in the stools?
Yes, they are. But as your attention settles on Marcus, as does Fergus's and Paylog's, these two are gonna sort of scooch up and like step away and allow you guys to sort of corner old man Marcus here as they watch curiously.
I just sit in the stool by the fireplace, staring straight at Marcus. Unbreaking in my gaze.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit at the stool next to him, and just greet him. Greet him. It's still morning, right?
At this point, it's like late afternoon. Old man Marcus, as Fergus approaches, has like a very pronounced, like stressed out Julia Roberts vein in his forehead, where he's just like, oh god, like.
Oh my god.
What does that look like?
What a visual. I understand exactly.
Well, now I have to Google it.
Yes, you will understand.
So as you guys approach, and based on how you've positioned yourselves, somewhat corner old man Marcus, his eyes are going to bulge somewhat. And what would you like to say to this fine chap, Maeve?
Oh god, that's unnerving to look at. Like an anime vein. Alright. Right.
I'm gonna ask him. So you've seen his kind before, and she nods back towards Fergus.
You can see old man Marcus slowly looks over and gulps quite visibly, and he says, I've seen the likes of him before.
Could you tell us what happened on that day? What happened? And she tries to make herself sound like very, very interested, just to try to get as much detail out of him as possible.
And he says, you want to know what happened when his ilk, sort of nodding towards Fergus, did what they did on Norstead. Ruined me legs. And Maeve, I didn't mention this before, but as Old Man Marcus had led you and Baylog to the cliffside, both of you had noticed, and Baylog, I would say you noticed this as well, both of you have noticed that both of Old Man Marcus has a very pronounced limp. Like the limp of someone who'd broken their legs and then they healed improperly. So Maeve, you can see even just sitting this close to Fergus is just excruciating for this guy. He's beginning to sweat. He's been drinking all day. From the looks of this guy, you can tell just by his very red and sort of oversized, porous nose that this man quite frequently drinks.
Did you tell the whole story?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he did.
So he says, "Ye may call me crazy, but I tells you the truth." And he is going to, let me check this real quick. Yes. Okay. So Old Man Marcus, grabbing his pint, is going to launch into his tail.
Let me get comfy with my snacks.
Oh yeah. You bet.
Is it me or is this whole thing not loading?
Let me know if it doesn't load.
Well, there's like a gray box at the bottom. Is that
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
normal? Okay, never mind.
All right.
Big old shit.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
All right. Turn this audio down just a hair. "'Tweren't like any storm what graced these waters afore. I remember it well. The lads scrambling and scurrying up and down the deck, trying as they might to avoid them foul rocks what towers north of here. That damned spire drew us to her like a moth to flame, it did. And just when we thought we might barely scrape by them deathly jaws with nary a scrape on the hull, a trough so great it seemed like the sea god was drinking from the ocean pulled us into the inky depths, sucking and drawing our ship downward like a hungry mouth from below. The Anne must have dropped 100 feet in an instant. I remember one of the lads screaming and falling into the water, but all I could do was stare and hang on for dear life as I gazed with horror into that black, angry hell. That was the only time I heard it. Thought I'd lost me head at the time, but we all heard a shriek and devilish calls what sliced the air like a fork squealing against a fine plate. 'Twas only for a moment, for then a wave like no other lifted us toward the sky. A crest so tall you'd think the sea herself plucked our vessel from its raging frothy tides and placed it bare upon them stones, broken and stranded to die. And there we were, like our ship, run aground atop that cursed spire. We untied our ropes and gathered inside to take shelter until the night passed. And whilst we trembled against the sea's fury, the storm outside ravaged the ship like an angry harpy, tearing away our nets, ropes, and anything else left exposed. In the morning there was nothing left, and we saw naught but a long fall and deathly stones beneath us. Many times boats came out to us to try and find a way up and could not. As such, we were stranded, not a quarter mile from home. When we ran out of rations, and then the shipments, we started eating whatever we could find. Bedsheets, string, the leather of our boots. I recall discovering a young sea hand named Thomas, drawn by the sound of his weeping, eating a rat he'd found aboard the ship. And even now I can feel the envy that I felt for him in that moment, blood gushing out his teeth and tears rolling down his grateful cheeks like a newborn babe. Then came the morning someone had killed the bosun, smothered him and slit his throat quiet in the night, and ate 3 fingers off his left hand. You might think us monsters, but we were desperate men. Hunger had gotten the better of us, and we couldn't rightly bring ourselves to give the bosun his burial at sea. One of the lads was chewing at the bosun's forearm when he suddenly stopped, calm as the morning breeze, and walking himself off the ledge. We shouted at him, but before anyone knew what was what, we watched him fall and break open on them rocks. Wasn't right, that one. Had gotten sick like the others. Like that Clifton girl. Like them families what disappeared. Most of the crew had started sweating, you see, getting pale like. The lads would mumble and babble, talking at ghosts and such. Say they were hearing things. That same shrieking what hissed at us before that blasted peak. Went feverish we did. Now you might cast me a skeptical eye, but I tells you the right of it. Them boys what were struck with that illness began hovering in the air above their bunks, eyes white as pearls, sweating like madmen, and seawater dripping out of the crew deck floorboards towards the ceiling like rain. I heard the captain, who locked himself in his cabin, singing heavenly notes like a raving lunatic. It was the mark of witchcraft, I tells ye. Witchcraft would put us on that damned rock and curse the lads with madness. You guys can see spit like flickering out of his face. Not I tells myself. I'll have no part in these black magics, no matter the cost. We found a narrow spot of water, you see. Too far down to jump lest ye cast yourself upon the stones like young Alex did. But fearing for me soul, I pledged myself to the three and jumped, closing me eyes lest I die fearfully. And 'twas not till well after I felt myself plunge into the icy waters below that I came to accept my survival. I feared for sharks lurking up from the water to rend me violently into pieces, and yet there were none. I never saw any of the lads again, and a way up to the Anne was never found. But mind this sickness, I tells ye. 'Tis the work of sea devils, to be sure. Sea devils! Pointing at Fergus. There we go.
Insight check?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna do one.
Yeah, all of you can tell he is telling the truth. He fully believes everything that he is saying.
Balog is going to get up, walk out of the tavern, staring straight at the spire with the ship on it.
The ship is still sitting there at the top of the tallest spire for miles around.
Are the seas particularly rough around it, like all the time?
Very. Yeah, these rocks are exceedingly treacherous, and getting a good look at them, Balog, you can see that they would be nigh impassable for any sizable vessel. Only like a small like schooner could like navigate out here without being just completely wrecked.
Oh, so like no rowboats?
A rowboat could get out there, but not like a full-size vessel. The weight of it would pull it onto the rocks and destroy it. So Norstead Point, right? The town is on a cliffside, but this tall spire, which the town is named for, towers far above, and it's not 85 feet. It's like hundreds of feet high, right? There are other sea spires near it that jut out of the water, but really it's a lot of really treacherous rocks near the bottom. It is not safe, and really it's a miracle Marcus survived that jump at all. I mean, it clearly broke both of his legs upon impact, and those legs never healed correctly. But yeah, he fully believes what he's saying. And he is not holding back in his accusation of Fergus.
So, they met these fish people. He said fish people, right? Or what did he call them?
Yeah, he said there were fish people shrieking in the water.
Shrieking in the water. Now, the way he described it, would they have been shrieking, or would they have been speaking a different language that sounds like shrieks?
He said what they heard was squealing, or like shrieking like a fork scraping against a plate.
Does that sound like abyssal? That's what I'm after.
Does it sound like abyssal?
Yeah, because if it's not just them speaking abyssal.
Without hearing it yourself, it would be hard to say.
Okay.
The way he describes it, it doesn't sound like speech. It sounds like there was some kind of horrible shrieking sound.
Does this sound familiar to Fergus at all?
It does not.
Maeve's gonna ask. So your crewmates got sick just like Beatrice?
Aye, just like the Clifton girl.
And did he say they willingly walked over the edge of the cliff? Or the ship?
One of the young men did. He was cannibalizing one of the dead sailors when he sort of suddenly stopped and walked himself off the edge.
Hmm. Was that dead sailor one of the ones who was sick?
No, they became sick after that.
Okay. Hmm.
Well, was that dead sailor patient 0? That's what I'm wondering.
The dead sailor, someone murdered him. Somebody had murdered the bosun, and they all started eating them, but that was purely out of starvation. Everyone became sick afterwards.
Oh, okay.
And did Marcus see any other symptoms past what we just saw in Beatrice?
According to his story, what happened is they started sweating very profusely, and then he said they started hovering in the air. Their eyes white as pearls, and singing. And he said that water began floating towards the ceiling like rain. And at that point, Marcus said, "This is certainly witchcraft. I'm out, one way or another."
So is witchcraft real? Like, does it seem like this could genuinely be witchcraft? Or a curse?
Well, you're not particularly well traveled, Fergus. You've certainly heard of magic, and your trident is certainly magical in nature. But outside of the deep ones, who are basically like god level entities, you've never heard of like regular people having access to magic.
Huh. Okay.
Maeve's gonna ask Marcus.
He also said, though, that the families who disappeared also had similar symptoms.
She's gonna ask Marcus, did you tell Cecily Clifton any of this about your crewmates who were sick?
Aye, of course. I've told everyone. And looking around the bar, you see a sort of collective, like, as everyone has heard the story a million times, although really no one... I mean, they all believed Marcus had gone through something, right? But they couldn't believe that magic and fish people were really part of it. They all just figured he was mentally ill. So Fergus coming to town is exceedingly validating for Marcus, because everyone suddenly sees that there could be some truth to what he's saying. And it occurs to you all that this is a very significant part of why everyone has been so paranoid about Fergus. because the town has experienced something like this before in the past. And in fact, every time it has happened, Marcus had made a point that it was similar to what he had gone through. And nobody believed it. And now the Clifton girl is sick, and one of these things, a fish person, climbs out of the water and walks into town. So the timing is very suspicious to everyone, and they've all been hearing about, such a thing for years.
What exactly did these fish people look like?
And old man Marcus kind of narrows his eyes, and he says, "They look like people swimming around in the water. Like you." And he sort of narrows his eyes at you, Fergus.
You say they look like people, and then you say they look like me. Well, which is it? Because I don't look like a person.
Let me see. He thinks for a second. He says, "They look like you. That's to be sure. They had torsos like a man. But they moved like no man could in the water."
Huh.
How far away? Wait, they were on the ship when they saw them. Was it during the day or at night when that happened?
Was it during the day or at night? According to Old Man Marcus's story, the incident with the ship happened at night. And then they sort of weathered out this crazy storm that was happening. And when they awoke the next morning, like, their boat was ravaged up there. Are you asking about the disappearances of the previous families? Or his particular story?
His story. His story. What happened? And she's gonna ask him, "Were you able to make out any other features?"
Can you recall anything else?
Yeah. It's about the.
He says, "Nay, lass. I only remember seeing them dark figures in the water. But nothing I could see about them. Only that they were like people. Moving about quickly. Shrieking. A sound like you've never heard. Horrible. I can hear it now." Y'all have any other questions?
Not really. I'm just trying to way to prove that to find a difference between Fergus and those other things.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for too. But I'm feeling like there isn't. Or at least not that Old Man Marcus knows of.
You could always go and look, Fergus. But there's a problem with getting through the water.
Yeah. There's also a problem if I find some of my people on the other end, because I'm not on good terms with them right now.
Well, nobody actually knows you stole it.
The people I worked for did.
The people you worked for did.
Yeah. I guess it's a select few people that actually know, but it still makes them nervous. Okay.
Okay. Do y'all have any other questions for Old Man Marcus?
Can't think of anything else, but now Maeve is more concerned, even more concerned for Beatrice.
Oh yeah, Old Man Marcus is deadly serious. He fully believes Beatrice is next, and her mother along with her.
and her mother, but her mother is not sick.
No,
Not yet.
but in with the families that disappeared, what happened is a member of the family became very, very sick, and then one day the entire family was gone.
That's true. Yeah. Oh,
I think we have to go to the source. The source of all these problems.
that cave?
Well, actually, that's not what I was talking about, but yes, that too, and that would be much easier than the source. So, yes, okay.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Y'all
Guess
want to do that then?
Yeah, go to the cave underneath Clifton House. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
y'all want to do?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say real quick, it is about 8:20.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
This is,
Going back to bedtime. Oh, getting close to bedtime.
yeah, this is probably a good stopping point for us.
Okay. Okay. It kind of feels like a good stopping point.
Mm-hmm.